Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and it's time to do my first impressions, kind of, on this ZT-0640, but I also have some stuff here for it. So I've got a Lynch Northwest package, I have a Sharp Dress Knives package, and I have a Gray Precision package. So I've been waiting to do this until all of the components arrived, and I've ordered all these things, waited for them to get here, and so I'm going to be doing kind of a first impressions. We'll talk about that, and then I'll be putting these components, I don't know what that sound was, and then I'll be putting these components onto the knife. So we're going to be doing a scale swap, a clip swap, and a disc swap. So lots of swapping happening here. The reason why this is only kind of a first impressions is because this knife, the way it sits, I don't like. I like the knife. The clip really has been the biggest deal breaker for me. I hate this clip. I think it's terrible. I think it's one of the worst pocket clips I've experienced on a knife in a very, very long time. I don't know how ZT is okay with this. The big issue isn't like, I would love for it to be deep carry. Yeah, that's my thing. That's not even the problem here. The problem is it barely sits up off the scale at all. There's like no room under there. And then to get it started going in your pocket is like virtually impossible. It just doesn't stick up enough here to even get it started. It's like, I tried it I think it was the day after I opened it. I was like, I'm gonna carry it like this and see how it goes. Trying to put it in my pocket, I was like, I quit. And then I tried again in thinner shorts. Not cool. Didn't work again. So it was like, no, this pocket clip is unacceptable to me. It is atrociously bad. And my recommendation, if you're going to get one of these, would be immediately, like as you purchase the knife, also purchase an aftermarket clip for it, because this just blows. It is a horrendously bad pocket clip, in my opinion. I guess if you wear clothes that are like paper thin, maybe if your clothes are paper thin, then you can make it work. But it doesn't work for pants made out of fabric. It's not acceptable to me that it's that bad for it. And I don't think, I mean, this is the pocket clip that comes on all these. I can't imagine this has an off pocket clip on it. So yeah, I have a Lynch clip for it. And then these scales are also not my favorite. I thought for a moment about trying to RIT dye these a different color to see how that would come out. But I only have on hand, funny enough, I have some like lime green RIT dye, which I used on a blue bug out at one point to turn it like this cool kind of aqua color. And then I have some like cobalt blue RIT dye. And neither of those were colors that I thought would really help this situation much. The blue might have made it more acceptable to me, but it would have been like turquoise, I guess, maybe, if it went right. And I had scales on the way, so I waited for it. Anyway, other than the scales being a color that I don't like and the clip being absolutely unacceptably bad, I've already grown to kind of like this knife just fidgeting with it at my desk a little bit. I've done a little bit of cutting with it, hardly any because I haven't carried it, but at my desk I've just like opened mail with it. And this blade I'm liking so far. It's not crazy thin behind the edge or anything, but it just feels like a good work knife. It feels robust and kind of solid without feeling overbuilt either per se. I guess mostly because it's kind of a slender profile overall. The ergos feel pretty good to me. I'm liking quite a bit about it. So I'm excited to be transforming it here and now so that I can start carrying it and actually experiencing it and seeing what it's made of. But yeah, this clip, oh man, it has to go. It's just so bad in my opinion. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can pivot the camera down onto my little work mat that I've got sitting here, and we're gonna see if we can go ahead and get all these components put on, and then we'll see at the end. Maybe I'll switch back to my face. Time will tell. We'll see where the night takes us. Anyways, we're gonna start busting into this and we'll flip now. All right, we're here. So I apologize, the tripod is casting some shadows. Anyways, I think we look all right here. we're working with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust these packages open. I've got the Lynch clip. This is the thumb disc, and these are the scales, which there's a surprise in there as well. I might as well use this knife, I suppose, to open these things. I'm gonna not turn this over because it's covered in my personal information. But let me off camera real quick. Open that guy up. All right. Thank you for my support. Thanks, Casey. Oh, thank you card. Very cool. In here, this feels like it's got the clip. This feels like it's just some hardware. Yeah, some silver hardware. And then a Lynch sticker, Lynch Northwest. Casey Lynch is a cool dude by all accounts. I like his work and his clips. Let's bust into this. All right, there is the clip. I'm going to go ahead and just reuse these factory screws. So that's now going to sit quite a bit deeper, which is going to be nice. I like that. And it's shorter too, which is also nice. So that's the clip. Let's get these things out of here too. Great precision thumb disc. I opted for the zirconium one, which isn't normally my thing. So it's an oversized thumb disc. It's going to be bigger than the factory one, which I think may help for spidey flicking it. And yeah, I did zirconium, which I think will look kind of cool with these scales that you're about to see. So let's bust into those. So, sharp dress knives. I should say this as well. The Lynch clip I purchased. I didn't even reach out to Lynch because the clip's pretty cheap and inconsequential. This I purchased. These sharp dress knife scales were sent in by Sharp Dress Knives. I talked to him about doing this project and was asking him what he had in stock, and he said he had just gotten some material and that he'd be happy to provide them. And then during the time when he was going to be sending them, he reached out again and was like, hey, I made you 2 different colors. You can pick which one you keep and then give the other one away. So I'll be including some scales in a giveaway soon, but some Sharp Dress Knives stickers here. And let's see, set number 1. Yeah. This is the, I believe it's called Arctic Storm Fatcarbon. It's like a black and white Fatcarbon material. The way I understand it, Fatcarbon is essentially carbon fiber with like ceramic in it, or layered with it. So we've got Arctic Storm, I think is what you call that. I don't know. I always forget the terms of these. And then we have the blue as well. And I'm really torn which color I'm gonna go with on my build and which I'm gonna give away. It is possible. I'm gonna state this right now. I could very well end up switching in the next day or two and seeing how they look, but I'm gonna install one tonight, and I'm kind of thinking that I'm leaning towards the blue. I don't have many blue knives in my collection, if any, really. This will be my first Fatcarbon knife too, which is really exciting. I've been meaning to use some Fatcarbon. I love that this is kind of like, it's black and white stormtrooper-y, but I think the blue with the zirconium and this clip will probably be really rad. So we're gonna go with the blue tonight. I'll set these aside. We're gonna put the blue ones on here with that thumb disc and this clip, and that should really make this knife more appealing to me personally. All right, so I have a T8 bit in here, and I can't tell. Those might be T6s. That's a T6 too. Are there any T8s on here? Is the pivot a T8? The pivot's a T8. Great. I can use this for the pivot. Cool. There's one screw I can use that for. The rest are going to be T6s, which I'll use this for. I might not even need to do the pivot actually too, now that I'm looking at it. That's hilarious. All right. Let's go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to take the clip off first because I hate it the most. Because it's made me the most upset. It's a good reason, right? So clip screw number 1, and I'm obviously going to be reusing these for that clip, so make sure that they don't get far away. This mat, by the way, people always ask when I do disassemblies on it. This is from B. Weiss leather, B-W-E-I-S-S. And this one in particular, you'll see has the Millie Club logo. He did a series of these for the Millie Club. He's also done runs of mats like these for Rivers Edge Cutlery in different colors. And I think he offers them on his website too. He's got an Instagram and a website, and really cool dude. Yeah, this clip is the freaking worst. I hate this thing. Obviously I'm not gonna like get rid of it, because if I ever do let go of this knife I should include the factory clip with it, but yeah, I strongly advise against that clip. I think it is terrible. Alright, there's one body screw. Looks like there's some white Loctite on these. More close. There we go. Body screw number 2. Those appear to be identical. Come on. It seems to be hugging onto that pivot over here. It's also spinning it, which is funny. So I'll adjust the pivot when I'm done, I suppose. Come on. This should not be captive on here, I don't think. Maybe it does set into it. Alright, apparently I'm going to disassemble it to get that side off. We'll see if this side comes off on its own. Get some more body screws out. Yeah, feels like I have to take the pivot out in order to deal with that. So maybe I'll leave the body of the knife alone, but just take the pivot out. This driver, by the way, I forgot to mention, this is a Brian Brown Knives titanium driver. This thing is awesome. Alright, there's the pivot screw. So now that's off. I should have grabbed a rag. I've got the Sharp Dress Knives case though. That's coming in handy. Alright, so yeah, it was set to hold in with the pivot screw. That's why it wouldn't come right off. This side's got to be as well. So I'm going to hold the knife kind of firmly shut here while I get this pivot. Oh, it's gonna suck to try to put it back in, isn't it? Alright, let's go full disassembly because we're already this far. Let me take these. Got that scale off. Oh, no, maybe I can get away with it. Let's see if I'm lucky. I'm holding tension. Pivot hasn't moved, so it should be alright. Probably should have pulled these out before I was holding this knife like a weirdo. I'm trying to keep tension on it. There we go. Alright, let's take this. I get this little bit of lube cleaned off on there too, so we're clean underneath. It's kind of cool. This knife looks like it would actually function as just a really slim little frame lock without the scales. But the scales are going to be dope now, so it doesn't matter. Alright. There we go. So that's that one. I like that the screw will still be captive in this aftermarket scale too. Yeah, it slots into there. Alright, so that is through. Let's take this side and put the pivot screw in. close enough. Start putting body screws back in. These scales look so much cooler. Oh man. Body screw number 1. Nice and tight. I love it when scales just fit exactly like factory ones do. And they don't make it too difficult for no reason, you know. Alright, so now I'm gonna put these on here. There we go. Final body screw. Sweet. Let's check for action. That might be a little too tight. Yeah, that's definitely a little too tight. That feels better. Alright, I can fine tune that when we're done as well. Alright, so now I'm going to do the clip last because I like working on the knife while it's skinny like this. Let's do the thumb disc next. Alright, so there it is. Nice. This one's like a polished zirconium, and then around the edge he has options for like knurling, where it's like X-shaped, much like what you see on the factory one. Or this one is, I think he calls it rifled. So it's just one direction of kind of slots notched into it. This looks to me like a T8. Let's see if I'm correct. Yep. So let's see if I can, yep. It's tight, but just got that screw to disengage. I'm gonna reuse this same screw, of course. Ooh. That was close, but I literally caught it in my lap. All right, so there's the factory thumb disc. This looks like it's also got a little bit of white Loctite on the screw. Let's go ahead and set the thumb disc in its kind of proper position here. See if I can get the tool in. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and torque it down quite a bit because it was real tight in there. That was super easy. That looks cool. Oh yeah. The added size helps. Let's see if it helps for middle finger flicking. This knife I've found it might need to break in a little. I have a tough time middle finger flicking it. It is rough. Come on. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to see about getting that to break in. I'll put a little more KPL heavy on the detent ball too. It's like just bruised the tip of my finger trying to do that. Crazy, but this thumb disc works well there. I'm hoping that as it breaks in, it'll become more like my ZT-0620. That knife I can middle finger flick, no problem. All right, so I shouldn't need that driver anymore. Now it's just the clip. One thing I like to do when I'm getting a clip installed, and it's one of these where you're like going through a window. I gotta set that screw down in there. Oh, that just fall through there? No, that can't be right. That would suck if the head of the screw was skinny enough to fall through. There we go. So I like to at least get that middle screw, sometimes all of the screws, frankly, set onto the clip before, but this one looks like the sides have pretty decent access. So let me get this one just started. There. That way it's gonna stay put while I get these side ones positioned. There we go. Get this one started. I'm not gonna tighten any of them down fully until they're all three in position. tightened, and that is on there. Now I think this looks like a way cooler knife than it did when we started. That was quick too. That felt pretty easy to me, getting all of those components put on for a pretty complete transformation. That's pretty sweet. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I feel like where I'm at on action feels about right. It really might just need to break in to smooth out a little more. Let's get some KPL on that detent ball, some KPL heavy that is. See if that helps a little bit. Oops. I'm gonna go ahead and just toss this factory thumb disc in here along with the factory clip. I've got my factory components right here. Put the factory scales in this sharp dress knives pouch. So I've got all my stuff baggied up. It can go in my parts drawer. All right, a little KPL heavy. KPL heavy I don't really recommend using for like the washers or the bearings on knives. I really just like it for detent balls and detent tracks. Let's put the lid back on here. And then the KPL like standard, I'll just drip a little bit in right now while we're looking at it. I just like to put in the washers. If I'm doing a full disassembly, that'll be when I apply it, but you can also, I find, just get a little in from there and then kind of work it in. Cap on this. All right. It's already feeling like it's dropping a little bit more, doesn't it? It's a hair off center though. Let's Alright, that feels pretty good. I'll tinker with it a little bit more, I'm sure, but let's go ahead and spin the camera around and you can look at my face a little bit while I talk about this some more, now that it is basically a new freaking knife. All right, here we go. All right, so as modifications go, I feel like that was pretty painless. The only thing that I wasn't sure about going into it was whether I needed to take the pivot out to get the scales off, and I did, but I was able to do that without disassembling the rest of the knife, so that's nice. This oversized thumb disc I'm liking. I like that it's not thicker than the actual profile of the knife, but it kind of matches the thickness of the profile of the knife. So if you know what I mean, like it's not sticking out further than the width of the knife itself, but it does, being a little bit bigger, feel like, for my thumb deployment at least, I am getting a better deployment. I don't know, middle finger flicking it. Oh, it's rough. Yeah, I don't know why. What it is about that that's making it not want to work so well, but thumb deployment is great so far. And I'm hoping that now that I'll be carrying this, fidgeting with it a lot and using it some more, that it'll break in quite a bit better. But yeah, this blade looks gorgeous. These scales are freaking phenomenal. I'm pretty confident in this moment that I'm not even going to put the white ones on, because this looks great to me. And I really like the color blue. I just for some reason don't have many blue knives, and I think it looks awesome on this one. I forget which finish this Lynch clip is. I think it's the sandblasted one I went with, and I feel like it goes pretty well with both the scales, and because the scales are shadow boxed and you can see some of the titanium coming through, it looks right to me. I'm glad I went with that finish. It's a cool looking knife now. I like that the Zirc thumb disc kind of plays off of the dark parts of the carbon too, and the black hardware seems to match a little bit better than that factory disc did for what this looks like now. Yeah, this is cool. This Fatcarbon also feels I don't know, it feels like smooth, but it does have a little bit of kind of natural, like, it's not super polished. Maybe it's because it's got this matte finish. It doesn't feel as slick as I maybe thought it was going to in a nice way. Ooh, and this thumb disc too. It's providing a bigger spot for me to place my thumb on here. I like that because I put my thumb on the spine anyways, I find. So that's good. Pocket clip doesn't really feel like it's making too much of a hot spot. I can feel it more than that factory clip, but that's because the factory clip basically was not even a pocket clip. It's just like a thing bolted onto the side that you couldn't do anything with. So yeah, now this is going to carry pretty freaking deep. There's not going to be much knife sticking out past the end there, and it looks sweet. So it's all put together. Yeah, I'll be doing a full review after I've carried and used it quite a bit more. This is my knife. I do personally own this, so I'll be testing it pretty heavily and seeing what I think in the end. But this is cool. I like that it's an Emerson design. It doesn't have a wave. It gets points for that for sure. I like the proportions too. It just feels like a properly sized knife. This is like perfect primary size for me, where it feels very big and capable, but it's pretty slim at the same time. It's not needlessly robust. All right, thanks for checking it out, guys. As always, when I get something from Rivers Edge Cutlery, I like to link them down below. So Rivers Edge Cutlery will be linked down below because I did get the knife from them. And then I will link Sharp Dress Knives because he provided both of these sets of scales, which is really rad. And then I'll link Lynch and Great Precision as well because they're the parts that I used. Yeah, so you'll find links to all of them. As always, a thank you to Rivers Edge Cutlery for being awesome. They're super supportive of the channel and really, really cool guys over there. And a huge thank you to Sharp Dress Knives as well, because he literally donated these scales for me to do this and donated the extra set. So I did, as of when I'm filming this, just past 6,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So I'll probably be giving these away as part of a 6K here on YouTube. That'll be interesting because not everybody has this knife, but maybe if they get a rad, expensive set of scales for it, then it'll push them over the edge to get one and try it. So yeah, we'll probably end up doing that here on YouTube. But thanks for checking it out with me, guys. Check out everybody in the links down below if you're not familiar with them or if you're interested in this stuff, and we'll see you on the next one.